All right, for today's video review, we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Beast Wars Neo Basic Class Stampy. Stampy here was released in 1999 as part of the Japanese Beast Wars toy line, so we never, really got this mold officially in the United States without importing it over. And he turns into a little rabbit here. I have a few Beast Wars Neo Maximals and Predacons that I'm going to kind of run through here. I'll just do the Maximals for now and save the Predacons for a later date. He's an all right little rabbit mode here. It's good in some respects and bad in some other respects. I think that the biggest thing really with him is the articulation, in that the back legs become the robot mode legs. So he's got a ball joint at the hip here, a ball joint at the knee, but unfortunately it only bends up that much. So because of his kind of, shorter front legs here, you can't really get him in a sort of regular rabbit pose where the legs are a lot more kind of bent up at the knee. The best you can do is kind of bring the legs forward a little bit so that he doesn't have that quite harsh angle on the foot here, so that his front legs are just kind of touching the ground at the toes there. Or alternatively, you could pose him so that he's only got, 2 feet on the ground and he's kind of standing up like that. And that looks okay. I prefer the version where he's got all 4 legs on the ground, but it's not the best, but it's not terrible. He's got some nice sculpted fur patterns on here. I guess to go through the rest of articulation, his front legs here are on ball joints. The ears are on hinges here. He does have technically some joint at the mouth here, but it really doesn't actually function very well in this mode. So pretty much you just have that in a static position. And that's pretty much it. The feet hinge back and forth like this, if I didn't show that off. I like the kind of bluing that they have on the back here, just to give a little bit more variation and break up the white. Otherwise it's a fine rabbit mode, a little bit, terrifying with the bright red eyes there, but otherwise, pretty good. In terms of size comparisons, here he is with Kingdom Sideswipe, just for the standard one. And here he is with Kingdom Core Class Rat Trap, just to show him off with a modern small-scale Beast Wars figure. So you can see he's a pretty typical Beast Wars basic class figure, about the same size as the rest of them. A little bit bigger than today's core class figures, but not by a whole lot there. But yeah, he's not fantastic in his rabbit mode, but he's good enough, I think, especially for an older Beast Wars figure. But yeah, in terms of transformation, first thing, so what's weird about these guys is a lot of the Beast Wars Neo figures had this weird sort of tertiary third mode where they become a weapons platform made out of obvious animal parts, which is a little strange. And in the case of Stampy here, he becomes a little handheld weapon. So I guess I'll show that off. I honestly never put him in this mode because it just feels like an afterthought, but there is a whole gimmick tied to it. So I guess it's something. But first thing you want to do is just untab the leg. Well, it's not really tabbed in. It's just kind of looped over this kind of back section here. You just want to bring that down and then take this whole section. It's on a double hinge and fold it up just like this, and then bring the rabbit mode legs to the back here. You want to take the entire head here and split it, and then these armature sections will go into these little clips. Now this is part of the gimmick, so if you bring back his tail, these actually widen, and I find that it's actually a lot easier to peg these into place if you activate that and pull them out, just so there's a little bit more of an angle for these to get in. It just makes it a little bit easier, and then you can just let that go, and then you want to bring the rabbit mode jaw head pieces forward like this, and then bring the ears up like this. It's going to make a weird sort of claw weapon. And then you want to bring the back legs of the rabbit up like this and kind of just loop them over the top here. And they want you to take these little sections and point them forward, I guess, just to add a little bit extra detail on there. I don't know. That's not entirely perfect, but it's about like that. And then he's got a little peg here on the back here. So basically what's supposed to happen is you have it like that, and then if you pull back on the rabbit mode tail, it basically closes the clamps in on each other to make kind of a claw weapon. It's a very subtle movement, but you know. And then I guess we'll bring back on Sideswipe here just because we've got him here. So we can, it's just a 5mm port or peg there. So there's Sideswipe holding a giant claw weapon made out of gross rabbit parts. This is just a really strange part of the Beast Wars Neo toy line, but it's part of the figure, so I figured I'd show it off. But none of them look good, really, in this mode. It's just kind of like a weird afterthought. But yeah, to continue on with the rest of the transformation, you just want to bring the rabbit mode legs down, and those little bits that we picked up, that we flipped up, will actually be his robot mode feet. So you just flatten out the rabbit mode feet so they're kind of backwards like that. Leave this section on the back there like that. This is also where you tab in the arms to for robot mode, and then just bring them down and bring the ears up. You can see he's got little sculpted hands in there, but also the just the jaws of the rabbit could be his robot mode hands, whichever. And then the head here is just on a little slider, so you just pull that up, and there you have Stampy in his robot mode. And yeah, you know, the weapon mode is obviously just nothing, and the rabbit mode is a little hit and miss, but I really like his robot mode. I love his little expression there. You see he's got his maximal spark crystal, very loud and proud, right in the middle. It does kind of suck that because of the weapon mode, he does have this like really awkward peg just sticking out of his stomach, but not the end of the world. But yeah, in terms of articulation, the head is on a very tight swivel here, but it can swivel back and forth. You can still use the gimmick if you pull back the rabbit mode tail, and it kind of just like makes him shrug a little bit, which is kind of funny. It's not really intended for that purpose, but it is still usable. But otherwise, the shoulders are on ball joints here. The elbows are on ball joints, so that gives him a bicep swivel and a bend there. Now, this is what I was saying. You can, like, there is a little bit of wiggle back and forth with the rabbit mode head as compared to the piece that it's attached to. So you can kind of open and close the hands a little bit, but not much. You can obviously bring these forward if you want them to be like weird wings or something. I don't know. Nothing at the waist. Hips are on ball joints, so they can go forward and back, and not really that far out to the side just because of the shape of his thigh here. The knees are on ball joints, which gives him a thigh swivel, and then also gives him about 90 degrees of bend at the knee. And then the feet can tilt up and down, as can the heels. So I guess the heels can only really tilt down, but you know, you can get some poses there where you're approximating a forward leaning foot pose. But yeah, no, he's a pretty cute little figure. Obviously, like, the weapon mode is bad in my opinion, but it's also completely ignorable. Like, it does have a gimmick tied to it, but that gimmick is not really obtrusive to either mode, so I think it works just fine. The rabbit mode is, I think, good enough, and the robot mode, I think, looks really cool. In terms of size comparisons, here he is again with Sideswipe, just for the standard one there, obviously much smaller. And here he is again with Core Class Rat Trap, a little bit bigger than Rat Trap, but, you know, just kind of typically the same size difference between core class figures now and basic class figures then. I think they look pretty good together, the two kind of rodent transformers from Beast Wars. But yeah, no, he's not much else to say about him. He's a fun figure. I'm going to be kind of looking at the other Beast Wars Neo Maximals, and I'll compare them to each other kind of as we go along. But yeah, no, a pretty good figure overall. If you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. I do reviews every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And without further ado, here we have Transformers 1999 Beast Wars Neo Stampy.